Good afternoon. I'm going to call to order this regular meeting of the Committee of the Whole for Wednesday, March 13th. My name is Andrea Jenkins, and I am the chair of this committee. With me at the dais today are Council Members Palmisano, Schrader, Council Member Cunningham, Council Member Fletcher, and Council Member Wright, and Council Member Gordon. Let the record reflect that we do have a quorum. And the only business before us today is the receipt of reports from the standing committees on matters to be considered by the full council in our regularly scheduled meeting this coming Friday. And we will begin with the Economic Development and Regulatory Services Committee, and that report will be given by Council Member Cunningham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to let folks know, Councilmember Goodman is unable to make it today, and Council Members Ellison, Johnson, and Cano are at the National League of Cities Conference, meaning that I have the good fortune of sharing this cycle's ADRS committee actions that will be going before Council on Friday. The first is approving the application for the Prodigal Pub in Ward 10 for on-sale liquor with Sunday sales, limited entertainment license. Item 2 is approving the application for Vin Brewing Company in Ward 12 for an expansion of premises of their on-sale liquor, tap room with Sunday sales, limited entertainment tax for an outdoor patio with 98 total seats. Item 3 is approving the application for Terzo in Ward 13 for an on-sale liquor with Sunday sales, no live entertainment license. Item 4 is passage of ordinance amending Title 12, Chapter 244 of the Minneapolis Code of Ordinances relating to housing maintenance code, adding a new definition entitled, quote, interest in a rental dwelling license or provisional license, end quote. 5, deleting from the agenda the revocation of a on-sale wine with strong beer and no live entertainment license for the Cove because they paid their outstanding taxes due to the Minnesota Department of Revenue. Item 6 are the liquor license approvals. Item 7 is the liquor license renewals. And item 8 is authorizing the city to join in the application with Arcadia on the River LLC for the registration of the 1101 West River Parkway property based upon the city's rights and ownership of the underground mine space. Number 9 is accepting grants from the Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development, the Metropolitan Council's Tax-Based Revitalization Account, and Hennepin County's Environmental Response Fund for the Fall 2018 Brownfield Grant Round. And number 10 is adopting the Renters First housing policy, which will guide city procedures, services, and programming related to housing inspections and code enforcement, including renter engagement and legal actions. I am happy to answer any questions that my colleagues might have.
Thank you, Councilmember Cunningham. Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Seeing none, we will move to the next committee report. The Enterprise Committee, which will be given by Chair Palmisano, but before she begins, I want to acknowledge that we've been joined by Councilmember Warsame.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There will be nothing that's being forwarded to full council this time around, but at Enterprise Committee this cycle, we heard an update on the NCAA Final Four tournament and the different considerations and preparations that we have going on as a city. We heard more about the public communications projects and initiatives being coordinated across the enterprise, including an update on how that audit is going for citywide communications. And we heard the city coordinator's monthly update where we spoke a bit about operational planning and some of our newest areas of work. So that was great. We have nothing to forward to full committee at this time. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair Palmisano. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we will move to our next committee report, which is the Public Health, Environment, Civil Rights, and Engagement Committee, and it will be given by its chair, Councilmember Cunningham.
Thank you so much. We have the Public Health, Environment, Civil Rights, and Engagement Committee is bringing forward 3 items. The first is authorizing an agreement with Optimum Insight in the amount of $5,000 annually, not to exceed $25,000, for the use of an insurance eligibility verification service for the school-based clinics program. The second is authorizing a lease agreement with Minneapolis Public Schools at no cost to the city for space and support for the city's school-based clinic program. And item number 3 is authorizing a contract with Shree Moldenhauer in the amount not to exceed $50,000 for consulting services related to the health department's role in the multi-jurisdictional task force on opioids. I am happy to answer any questions on these items.
Thank you, Councilmember Cunningham. Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Seeing none, we will move to the next committee report, the Public Safety and Emergency Management Committee. And given that will be given by the Vice Chair, Councilmember Fletcher.
Thank you, Chair Jenkins. The Public Safety and Emergency Management Committee is bringing forward 3 items to this week's council. The first is a contract amendment expanding Aspen Psychological Consulting's contract with us to include 911 personnel. The second is approving a contract with Blue Pictures LLC for a documentary they've been working on. And the third is a staff direction to the police department requesting that they report back on their wellness and mindfulness work by July 31st. I'll note that we also received and filed a report on some updated policies at MPD that will hopefully provide us with a smoother process for considering future documentary film projects.
Thank you, Councilmember Fletcher. Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Seeing none, we will move to the next committee report, the Transportation and Public Works Committee, given by its chair, Councilmember Wright.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. The committee will be forwarding 13 items today. The first 2 are street resurfacing projects. The areas are designated. Item 3 is the Bridge Tunnel Water Main Project and the bond amendment for that appropriation. Item 4 is the alley construction at 14th Avenue Northeast. Item 5 is the ESPN College Game Day Block Event Permit. Item 6 is the areaway abandonment for Hennepin Avenue South project designation, and a public hearing will be set May 7th. Items 7 through 12 are all bids for activities of the department. And the final item, 13, is a license agreement for the shared motorized foot scooter operations in 2019. I will stand for questions, Madam Vice President.
Thank you, Chair Wright. Are there any questions? Are there any questions? I have a question, Councilmember Wright. The ESPN block grant, where is that going to be? The block closure, I suppose?
Yeah, so that will be a large block event permit to allow activation of the Nicollet Mall from April 5th to the 8th. And the section, I think, is the sort of central area of the Nicollet Mall.
Thank you. Our next committee report is the Ways and Means Committee, and that will be given by Chair Warsame.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. The Ways and Means Committee has 29 items to bring forth to the full council. Item number 1 is a Civil Service Commission appointment. Item number 2 is the Minnesota Department of Public Safety Violence Against Women Act STOP Special Program Grant for implementation of pilot domestic assault response team. Item number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 are legal settlements. Item number 16 is a grant from the Minnesota Historical Society for Minneapolis Modern Era Context Study and Report. Item number 17 is an appointed position in the Health Department, and this is for the Director of Office of Violence Prevention. Item number 18 is an appointed position in the City Clerk's Office, and this is for the Assistant City Clerk position. Item number 19 is the Capital Long Range Improvement Committee appointments. Item number 20 is an assignment of arbitrage rebate services contract to A.W. Smith LLC. Item number 21 is a bid for Target Center escalator refurbishing. Item number 22 is a rebid for Curry Maintenance Facility Electrical Systems Modification Project. Item number 23 is a lease with Colliers International for elections and voter services office and warehouse. Item number 24 is a lease with Extra Space Management, Inc. for Minneapolis animal care and control equipment storage. Item number 25 is a contract with Visual Communications, Inc. for signage and wayfinding design services for the Public Service Building Project. Item number 26 is a contract amendment with Meyer, Schreier, and Rockcastle Ltd. for architect and engineer of record design services for the Public Service Building Project. Item number 27 is a contract amendment with Architectural Wall Systems LLC for design assistance and unitized envelope system services for the Public Service Building Project. Item number 28 is a contract amendment with Adolphson and Peterson Construction for the East Side Storage and Maintenance Facility Project. And the final item is a gift acceptance from the Harvard Kennedy School for travel-related expenses to the Project on Municipal Innovation. And I'll be happy to stand for any questions for those items.
Thank you, Chair Warsame. We have a question or a comment from Councilmember Cunningham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question's actually for the city attorney, if I may. Could you explain to us item 2 with the domestic violence work? And can you help us understand, and the public also, what is the difference between that and the domestic violence hotspots program that came out of your office as well? Thank you.
I would be very happy to, Chair Cunningham, and thank you for this opportunity. I really want to highlight the work of Chris Bates, who's a prosecutor in our office. He's actually housed, is his current assignment down with the Family Violence Unit of the Minneapolis Police Department. And this was his idea, and he proposed that the investigators' hours be changed so that they work some evening hours along with domestic violence advocates so that they're able to respond at times right away when calls come in and when the cases occur. Because as we all know, people don't just commit domestic violence between 8:30 to 4:30 during the daytime and weekday hours. So we're really excited about this. We're really proud of Chris. He's been a great addition to our office. So thank you for this opportunity.
Of course. If I may ask a follow-up question?
Certainly.
So is that expanding the purview then of the domestic violence hotspots, or because that is during the day, so is it expanding that? Because you all have just done so much amazing work.
Yeah.
I want to understand how they fit together, and so folks can too.
Thank you, Chair Cunningham. And I didn't distinguish the two. So they are separate but complementary programs, because the violent crime hotspots program follows up when there's been a 911 call that does not result in there actually having been a crime. People needed some help. A kid was out of control. They needed some assistance, but not something where there would be a criminal case. If there's a criminal case, then our advocates get involved, and there's connection with services. So that program pays for specially trained police officers so that they can go out and engage in a non-law enforcement capacity with members of the community, along with a family therapist, to just meet people, see what their needs are. This grant program will be when there has been when there is a criminal case to investigate. And so that's the difference. So they'll be complementary, but making sure there's a quicker response and quicker interaction between the investigators and advocates at the scene. We also, the City Council actually has funded a 24-hour hotline so that police officers, when they respond to the scene, no matter what time of day or night, individuals can immediately connect with domestic violence advocacy services. So that's another. So thank you all for supporting all that important work.
Thank you so much for that. I'm really grateful and excited. We have seen such a gap, and you have been wonderful in identifying that. And I also want to give the shout out to Chris Bates.
Yes, Mr. Bates. So
Mr.
thank you.
Bates,
I've got a wonderful team, just dedicated day in and day out, and constantly trying to improve our services to help people.
Really
Thank
phenomenal
you.
work. Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And our last committee report is the Zoning and Planning Committee, and that will be given by its chair, Councilmember Schrader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Zoning and Planning Committee will have 3 items for approval this Friday. The first is the denial of a site plan review for the property at 445 Malcolm Avenue Southeast, as well as 419 through 504 29th Avenue Southeast and 501 30th Avenue Southeast. The second is the approval of a rezoning at the same property, and the third is the approval of the adequacy of an environmental assessment worksheet for the property at 500 through 530 South 3rd Street, as well as 240 Portland Avenue. And I'm happy to stand for any questions.
Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Seeing none, I would like to take the chair's privilege and introduce my colleagues to a really dear friend of mine and high school classmate, James Seals. I want to congratulate him on his recent graduation from Metropolitan State University. We are really, really, really proud of him and want to offer you an opportunity to say some words if you so choose to.
You put me on the spot. Good afternoon. I was just in the building next door interviewing for a new job and thought I'd come up and say hello. So that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Well, congratulations on your recent graduation.
You as well.
Absolutely. And seeing no further business before this committee, we are adjourned.